someone like that personally in my life, that when you go through real life stuff, they're able to give you real answers that you may not want to hear, but that you need to hear, or that you can really learn from and give a different perspective. You know, she was basically saying how her marriage wasn't always 50-50. There were years, hard years, and she just had to, she decided that she was going to stay with it, and sometimes Barack would give 20 and she would give, 80, or it would be the other way around. But the real meaning of partnership and the reality of it, because I feel we always say we want someone to meet us 50-50, but it's not always like that in reality. So just to have someone like that to give some real life advice, would be amazing. Does my boyfriend watch my videos? My ASMR videos. I think he would maybe come across it, maybe see what I'm talking about or something, or see how it is. But he's not really into ASMR, so not really. But I think when I did my vlog channel more, he would watch the videos, because it would be cool for him to see the vlog and kind of relive those memories. So yeah, let's see. What made you start your ASMR channel, and who are some of your favorite ASMR artists? Gosh, honestly, ASMR is something that I got into when I was like maybe 16 years old by accident. I found this video of a girl doing her hair, but the way she was talking and her normal voice was just so relaxing. It gave me chills all over. And after that I was hooked, and then I found ASMR, and yeah, so I've been watching it all the time, every night before I go to bed pretty much. And I woke up one day and I was like, I'm gonna start an ASMR channel. And there's this tech store that we go to called FNAC, and I had a gift card for FNAC, or some money off. I think it was like $60 off, something like this. And I had no idea what to spend it on, and it was going to expire soon. And I said, I'm gonna get my microphone. And then I started my channel, because I was like, I watch ASMR all the time, I'm sure I could do it. So yeah. Favorite ASMR artist? Love Gentle Whispering, love MV ASMR, XO Katie. They're the two sisters that do the hair ASMR. I just think it's, oh my goodness, puts me right to sleep. I love in my neighborhood, I had this one neighbor that would collect all the mail for the neighbors, and we would always go to his house. He would have candy, and he was just like the nicest older guy. He was old. I felt like he was always old my entire life because I lived in that house since I was 6 to 23, so to me he was always old. But he was the nicest person, and when I went back the last time, I saw that they named the street after him, which was so wonderful. What is your current career that was, that was a sick experience,